Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the inaugural newcarads.com auto chat hangout. It's a lovely day here in Toronto, and I'm glad you could be with us to talk about the new website and have a chat with our special guest who's with us today. My name's Keith McDevitt. I'm the founder of newcarads.com, and one of the reasons for this chat is to give you a sense of what the site's all about. And how it makes shopping for a new car a much simpler process. But also, we want to talk about new cars. And so our first guest of our many to come hangouts is a gentleman I've known for a long time who is not only a fabulous and award-winning advertising copywriter and creative director, he's also an accomplished automotive journalist, member of the Automotive Association of Canada, and a contributor to a number of websites, including autos.ca, thedailyxy.com, and a number of other automotive publications. And I'd like to welcome Stephen Buchanan to this hangout. Good morning.
Good morning, Keith. Thank you for the charming introduction.
Well, you know me. We're going to talk about a number of interesting things throughout the morning, or at least through the next little while. We're not going to be here all morning. But I thought the first thing I'd like to do is show our viewers the website and give them an understanding of essentially what it's all about. And so if you have a chance and you can come to our current landing page, so it's newcarads.com, you're going to find this page. We're just in the process of uploading content for the site, but would love to get you to sign up in advance, and that's easily done by coming over to this button here and pressing sign up. And you just essentially fill out this little form here. But also it'd be really great if you could also click on our survey here. And what the survey does is just gives us a sense of what brands you'd like to see on the site. I know I really haven't talked too much about the site as of yet, but it also lets us go to these manufacturers and tell them that you want to see their content on the website. Now, newcarads.com is something different. It's new. Essentially what we do is we consolidate all the advertising from the manufacturers and the new car dealers. It's only for new cars. We bring all that information into one website. So as opposed to having to find a newspaper, which I was always forgetting to do, spend hours online, building and pricing cars on this website and that website and this website and moving back and forth, we consolidate everything into one site. So when you're shopping for a new car now, you don't need to go looking for a newspaper. You can get all the information you need on the deals that are in your market, or perhaps a little bit further afield. You can get all that on the website. It's very simple. You search by brand, make by model, by vehicle type, cars, a hybrid, SUV, that sort of thing. You can put in your keywords, which would limit the search based on the keyword content that you're searching for, like say, for example, Lexus hybrid. And then distance. Neat little feature here. Lets you look a little bit beyond perhaps your local market. You can go up to 200 kilometers from your postal code and see what offers are available. So it's a very interesting tool, and when we get into it a bit more, and I'll show you, there's some really handy shopping features that make shopping for a car a little bit simpler. We were talking last week where the Lincoln MKZ, I think you've been driving one. I came across a guy last night with one and was chatting with it. It's a spectacular car. Did you get a sense that it has good fuel economy?
It did, but I was driving the hybrid only. So we they hosted a special ceremony or a special event for a bunch of auto writers, and we teamed up. There was a competition to see who could achieve the best fuel efficiency, and the guy I partnered with, we came in second out of, I don't know, 7 or 8 teams. But the competition was also, being realistic. They didn't want us hypermiling or purposely, turning the car off or just putting it neutral and sliding down hills or something like that. And also doing the speed limit, not intentionally doing 20 clicks below, just so you can get, you can win and get, I don't know, a Tim Hortons coffee mug or something.
When you're shopping for a car, fuel economy obviously has become a critical component for people when they're shopping. And having driven a number of different vehicles, what's been your experience in terms of the fuel economy ratings they give you? They say, oh, this car can do X, Y, and Z in terms of, and having worked on a million car brands as well, I know you're advertising this mileage, but sometimes it doesn't quite seem right. Do you see that's the case, or is it something that your driving skills, because you're talking about that as well, can affect how the car performs?
Both. And this is for people who are looking for a new car. It's very important. If you're budgeting yourself and you're thinking, oh, this thing gets such and such liters per 100 kilometers or mileage, you want to be very careful with that, because chances are you're looking at the government-approved, the Canadian government-approved Energuide statistics, and they're almost always far off from reality. Even if you drive carefully, it's very hard to achieve those numbers often. If you want to achieve better mileage, I can give you a few tips. Just accelerate gently. If you have eco mode in your car, if you're buying a new car, almost all of them these days do have the eco mode, and it's better for the economy, better for the ecology as well. So hence the eco. But a good tip I once read is, imagine there's a full coffee, a hot coffee, sitting on your dash while you're driving, and you don't want to spill a drop. Or if you're an kinesthetic learner, use a real one, and you'll improve your driving really quickly. It's also, check your tires once a month. Don't just inflate your tires to the numbers that are on the tire itself. Look inside your door. There's a little card in there that shows you where the ideal tire pressure is. On the tire itself, that's the maximum pressure. So if you're inflating to that, you're overinflating. Another thing you can do, just think about regulating the temperature in your car. If you're buying a new car, consider getting a cream interior, because it's that light color doesn't attract the sun. If you've got a black interior, I want to have black leather, you're going to be very, very hot. And then you turn the air conditioning on, and whatever government-approved stats you have are going to go flying out the window, even though the windows are shut.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, one thing that I would like to do is, I'm just going to take a second here, and I'm just going to show us the website, because shopping for a new car certainly is something that can be a challenge. And I mean, there was a Google study not too long ago that said consumers will go up to 18 different sources for data on when they're searching for a car. And so we very much want newcarads.com to become one of those sources for them. And using it is very simple. As I said, you just search by make. In this case, we're going to start with Lexus. I could choose a specific model, but for the sake of this, I'm just going to put in my postal code. And then keywords I could put in, $399 lease, something like that. And shopping distance, I'm going to pretend I want to go 113 kilometers out. Essentially, I just search. And what happens now is the system's going to come back to me and give me all of the ads that are in the marketplace that are specific to that search. Now, right now, I'm seeing them from Lexus Canada first. Then I would see the Toronto area Lexus dealers, and then I would see my local dealership based on my postal code. But I'm going to change how those ads come back to me. And there's a number of ways I can do that. The newest ads, the oldest, which ones are going to expire soon, most popular. But I'm going to go down to local ads here. And what the system does is just rejigs the ads and delivers them to me now based on the dealership closest to me. So in this case, it's Lexus on the Park. I'm going to click on this ad, and the ad comes up front and center. There we go. And I can use my mouse to zoom in on the ad. And the idea behind it is that all the text is completely readable. You can print it, and I'll go through that in a few minutes from now. But you've got that ad there. Now you also have the television commercial. It could be for, in this case, it is for the hybrid. It could be a dealership video. It could be a number of different things. Just some more information to give you more detail about the specific model and car you're interested in looking at. If I want to from here now, and this is one of the great things about the site, I don't have to go to 100 different websites to figure it out. Now I can go directly, if I want in this case, to Lexus on the Park. Now I'm going right to their website, and I'm able now to navigate through their website and potentially go further along in the purchase cycle. If I want, I can contact the dealer, and this just has all their contact information, sales, emails, phone numbers, that sort of thing. But also what I can do is I can view my local dealers. So it may be that not necessarily do I want to go to the dealer that's closest to me, because I want to go closer to someone I work nearby. And so what you'll see is that I have all of these dealerships in that 113 kilometers, and then the rest of them within the province. So it gives you a real thorough view of who's available in the marketplace.
What's different, obviously, these days is that the consumer has so much more power. So this site is just ideal, frankly. I think it should be very successful.
Well, we're hoping it will be. But on that point, what I wanted to show you actually was how you can use it and some of the tools on it to make that shopping process easier. And essentially, what I can do is there's a number of tools once I got to an ad. For example, I can save my search, which just means when I come back next time, it's an easier way to get into the system and see what's going on. I can click this button, Keep Me Informed, which really creates an alert. And what that does is the system will now let you know when a new ad that fits your search criteria comes in the system. So kind of we do the work for you. You don't really need to be looking anymore. We'll let you know when this a new offer for, in this case, a CT200H comes into the system. And you'll get an email notification, and that ad will be part of that. Now, to do this, you do need to log in. And in this case, I haven't logged in, so it's just telling me I've got to log in or register. Registering is quite simple. And essentially all you do here is it's just your name, your email, and you create a password. Just give me your postal code and city and province you're in. Very simple, and that just helps us keep track of your files and your activity as you go through the site and be able to provide you with the information you're looking for. You can print an ad, and you can view all the ads and print them without signing up. Save it into your saved ad portfolio, and you have to be signed in for that. But the great thing about saving an ad is that it has an expiry date on it. So as that ad gets closer to its expiry date, we'll send you an email notification saying, hey Steve, this ad's about to expire, essentially saying if you're interested in the offer, you better get going because it could be gone. So just a nice little reminder on something that you might be interested in. If you want, you can email it to a friend, and you can send that across through email to friends who might be looking for a car, or you can share it across a number of platforms in the social media world. Certainly, Facebook and Twitter there, but there's a whole raft of them that you can select from. So it's a very handy tool when it comes to the shopping process. One other thing, and we can talk about this because I think there are some interesting dynamics in the market, but you can also use this tool here, the Canadian Black Book Estimator tool. And what that does is that gives you a sense of the value of the car you own right now as a trade-in. And so the idea behind it is you can walk into the dealership with all the information you need and be relatively well prepared to negotiate from a position of strength when you do that. Now, one thing that I've been interested to notice and see over a period of time is the predominance or the increase in the number of diesels that are finally coming to Canada. Like, we've got hybrids, we're touting them as the best thing, but diesel's always been a very, very good, fuel source. And have you been driving any lately, or what's your sense on that?
Yeah, well, diesel, people are concerned with the environment, and they're concerned, with good fuel economy. And there's, electrics and hybrids and diesels. I tell you, if I were to buy a new car today, it would be a diesel. They're just so much better on fuel. The trouble is, North Americans are still, they're coming around. I think we're just on the cusp of people finally getting it. There are several new diesels that have been coming out these past 2 years. Largely they're the German manufacturers. But North Americans, a lot of people still think that it's expensive, and they also think that diesel's dirty. The expense problem is government tax. Diesel proportionally is taxed much higher than gasoline, regular gasoline, because it's a legacy from the government back when it was filthy, and it was largely the trucking industry that drove diesels. They would tax the dickens out of them for money to repair the roads. But also now these days, the diesel itself, the clean diesel, it burns 99.9% more cleanly than it did in the 1980s. So there's almost no filth. It's called clean diesel, and it genuinely is. This week, just after I'm finished today, I will have finished driving a Mercedes-Benz ML 350 BlueTech, and BlueTech is the diesel technology. And again, just after this week, I'm so utterly convinced that diesel's the way to go. It's largely the German companies. However, I think there's a Chevrolet Cruise diesel, so welcome. domestics, and
Yay.
the Mazda 6 is, I think they're going to be coming out with one in April. Um, but all the Germans, so the BMW and Volkswagen, Audi, there, and of course Mercedes-Benz, they've got several. Somebody was telling me, and I shouldn't quote this, it's not an accurate quote, but the an inside source at one of the big German companies was saying that as many as 80% of the vehicles they're selling right now are diesel.
That doesn't surprise me because I've got a number of friends who are looking right now, and they all seem to want a diesel because I think they've all realized that the performance is so much better than it used to be. I remember taking a Jetta diesel out from a dealership 15 years ago and being afraid because the thing was so slow off the mark. But now they're completely different. They feel like a gas-powered car.
Yeah, the rattle, that's almost eliminated completely. In this Mercedes-Benz ML350 Blue Tech that I've been driving, I will have achieved probably just under 1,000 kilometers on a single tank, and I have not been careful.
Wow.
I've had a pretty heavy foot this past week. One point to make about your site, that a lot of people don't realize, the vast majority, it's something like 3/4 of the buying decisions of the real sort of middle class households. When it comes to big purchases, i.e. the car, it's mostly the woman who decides. She makes most of the decisions, and but women still do feel intimidated when they go into a dealership. So this tool, it's newcarads.com, should be an incendiary change for them. I think you'll have a lot of people passing it on.
I just thought this would be a really neat way just to give everyone the information they need because it's all relevant before you go into the dealership. You know, I wanted to know what the dealer was advertising this specific model for because it turned out they actually had greater incentives the dealer were offering versus what the factory was. So all that information will be here, and you can find it. Now, actually, I just got a tweet from Mark in Picton, and he wanted to ask you whether or not, we talked earlier about fuel economy ratings earlier on, in saying how they can sometimes not necessarily be as accurate based on your driving. Does that also go for diesels?
Yes, it does, but they, from what I've seen, they tend to be closer. But that's my personal experience. But it's still, because what's happening is, I believe when the Canadian government is doing these tests, they've got them in a laboratory. So, you know, they're not factoring in starting and stopping a whole lot. They're not considering, you know, freezing cold winters when you've got your heat lasting.
So another question just came in. As somebody, I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read it. But the question specifically was more about, you know, first-time new car buyer, and that certainly could be an intimidating thing. What would be, in your opinion, this is going to be the stock question now from now on. Every time we have a guest on the program, what would be the top 3 things to keep in mind when shopping or buying a new car? So for you, for example, I came up to you and said, Steve, I've never bought a new car before. What would be the 3 things I need to keep in mind or do to make the process a better one?
Okay. Well, first of all, if you are thinking about fuel economy, I would suggest using the American sites for better stats. If that's factoring in majorly to your, because for your first car, usually it's a big economic leap as well, and few people appreciate just how expensive these things are, from, you know, gasoline, parking, to insurance, to maintenance, washing. So I would suggest going, excuse me, to fueleconomy.gov, and that's in American gallons. So you'll have to do the Google to translate that into something you might understand. But that would be one. Another thing is there are so many good cars these days. I don't remember the last time I drove something I really couldn't find something extremely good to say about. The competition is severe between manufacturers, and it's sad that the world seems to be melting down just as they're getting it right. And also, it's the greener cars. They are becoming more accessible. So if it's your first car, chances are you're going to go budget. But don't discount the possibility of going hybrid or diesel. They're more expensive, but they hold their value, especially diesels. So, 3 years down the road, it won't be worth half of what you got. It's something worth very close to what you paid.
The one thing I would suggest, though, if you're in the market for a new car, and I do this all the time, even if I'm not, because I'm just interested to hear what people have to say, but is if you see someone like the guy I saw last night with that new Lincoln, go up and talk to them. I mean, these are people who've just made a big investment in the car. They're going to tell you the things they like about it, and they may tell you the things they don't, but it's always interesting just to have a chat with someone who owns a car, and particularly something new, because it's once you see it on the road, I think it's a very different experience than seeing it in an ad or on a TV commercial or something like that. Not that there's anything wrong with ads or TV commercials.
Well, you and I have paid our mortgages and put our children through school on them.
Yes, they have. They have. So, is there anything else you wanted to chat about briefly? Any recent experiences with any of the cars you've been test driving, or where are you off to next? What's the next drive you're doing?
Next week is Test Fest. That's where the Automobile Journalists Association of Canada, AJAC, it's they spend the full week inviting all the members who've done at least, you have to have done 25 full reviews in the year so far. So that's pretty much a new car every second week throughout the year. Any members, I think there are about 300 members in the association, all auto journalists or part-time auto writers, are invited to test new cars in all sorts of different sizes and rate them. So you've got this week, well, I think I drove upwards of 70 cars last year in 5 days. And it does become overwhelming, but it's a lot of fun, really interesting, and you're surrounded by car geeks geeking out. And in the evenings, there's a good deal of camaraderie. The writers come from all over Canada to participate.
Is that the event where they then out of that they do the AJAC Awards?
Yes, the AJAC Awards wind up. You get the best favorite car of 2014. It all comes from voting and from different categories as well.
So the last question I'll ask you to put you on the spot is, what's going to be the best new SUV crossover over $30,000? If that's the right category.
You know what? Last year, every single prediction I made was wrong.
Well, then I'm not going to ask you for a prediction. How's that? I won't bother you. In fact, we probably should look at wrapping this up as we get a little closer to the 10 o'clock hour. So I just wanted to, first of all, thank you for coming. It's been great to have you on board, and hopefully we'll get you back again. You can maybe become our in-house journalist expert for future hangouts. And also for any viewers who are out there watching this, I'd love you to drop by newcarads.com, fill out the survey, and certainly register for more information. So if you can send us your information, we'll make sure and keep you in the loop. And oh, something just came in here. I have a question from here. Is this good for Canada versus the USA? The website is launching in Canada first. Our plan is to roll it down to the States very quickly. A lot of that, again, if you can get onto the site and do the survey for us, that'll be a huge help. But it's getting the manufacturers to sign up and getting them to upload their content. Really, that's what drives it. And another one question from somewhere in Toronto: am I a car man? Yes, I guess you could say I am. Pardon?
You made from car.
Yes, made from cars. I could show you, but it would be painful. No, I've been. I come from the ad agency world, like Stephen, and have worked on a number of brands, including Lexus and General Motors and Hyundai and all that. So, yeah, the website kind of came out of that experience as well. So I think with that said, I think we will wrap things up for now, and certainly please stay tuned for future newcarads.com auto chat hangouts, and appreciate you hanging around, and we'll be back and talk to you soon. Have a great day. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Keith.